Okay, so apparently the Bassmaster Classic happened this past weekend, and usually when the Bassmaster Classic happens, there's like a little mini ICAST that goes on where a lot of companies will release their new tackle. So it's time to go over the tackle that I found interesting, and this is all coming from the Tackle Warehouse website. Okay, so let's start out with Abu Garcia, because they just came out of nowhere, it seems, with a couple of new reels, and they're called the Zetas. Now there's a spinning reel as well as a bait caster, and we're going to talk about the bait caster. So first off, it's using the Roxani frame just like the REVO EXD, but I'm not sure who at Abu Garcia actually approved this color scheme, but I personally don't like it. It's like a matte army green with red accents, and when you look at it close up, it looks kind of cheap, and it reminds me of the 13 Fishing Inception, which I have personally handled at a store, and that reel's paint job felt awful. Now after looking at the specs, this reel makes absolutely no sense. So let's get to the first or the only good point about this reel, because the rest in my opinion is a negative. Now the only good point is that they are using the Infini dual braking system, which has proven to be excellent, but then it's all downhill from here. Now the first negative of this reel is that it's made of graphite. Yes, graphite. So it's not even a carbon composite. Now second is going to be that it weighs a whopping 9.5 ounces. Now some of that is due to the brass Duragear, but why is this reel so heavy for a reel that isn't made of metal? And the third negative, it costs $175, and that makes absolutely no sense, because for only $5 more you can get the Shimano CURADO K, which has a metal frame, and then for $15 less you have a better reel in Abu's own REVO SX, which looks better, weighs almost 2 ounces less, and has the same braking system and an aluminum frame. Now also the TATULA 100 is $15 cheaper. So once again, this reel makes no sense at this price. Okay, so on the rod side of things, Abu Garcia released a line of rods called the Virtual. So keeping in line with their rod names starting with the letter V. Now these rods are priced at $130, and as you can see by the bright lime green color accents, these rods are probably targeting the younger angler. And one thing I did notice was that their REVO 4 lineup was on sale, and maybe they're going to be releasing a new REVO series based on the Roxani frame and ICAST, but who knows for sure. But that's going to be it for Abu Garcia. Okay, so next up is going to be Daiwa, and they brought over a lot of what was released at the Japanese fishing shows. Now in fact, these items have actually been for sale at Tackle Warehouse for a few weeks already. So let's start with the new 2020 TATULA SB, which I think they've officially named the TATULA SV103 TW or something like that. Now I saw the Tackle Warehouse video with this reel in it, and it looks like it's slightly changed from the JDM model which I have. Now luckily the reel retains its glossy finish to separate itself from the other Tatulas, but it looks like they've changed the handle assembly. Now the handle itself looks to be longer, probably 90mm, but they changed the knob end cap color to black and also the nut retainer. So instead of being able to see a colored nut that allows you to see what gear ratio it is, they use the same chrome plastic piece that is used on the base 100 model. And because of that, I'm glad I got the JDM version. Now the price stays the same as the previous model at $200, which is good, but what is strange is that the old model doesn't seem to be on clearance anywhere that I can see. So next up, Daiwa also brought over the ZILLION 10 super high speed model, and it appears to be unchanged from the JDM model. Now, the early information was that the ZILLION had a magnesium frame and aluminum side plate, but it's since then been corrected to an aluminum frame and side plate. Now, unfortunately, it will have an SV spool, and it's also priced at a whopping $400. To put that in perspective, the new METANIUM is only going to be $20 more. So both of those things mean that I have zero interest in buying this reel, but I wouldn't turn one down if someone wanted to send me one to test. Now, the only other interesting release from Daiwa is the new Rebellion rod line. This appears to be the second attempt from Daiwa to compete with Shimano's very popular Zodius rods. Now, the first attempt was the Chronos. I don't know if you guys remember that rod line. And this time around, Daiwa is mimicking the Zodius a lot closer with its styling. Now, I'm not sure if that color they're using is a dark orangey red or a dark gold, but in any event, it looks like the blanks on these Rebellion rods may be a little bit better than the ones on the Zodius and even the new Zodius that are coming out. Now, they have two rod technologies similar to Shimano's Spiral X and High Power X wrap, which Daiwa calls X45 and Braiding X. Now, to get the Spiral X and High Power X technology in a Shimano rod, you're going to have to spend big bucks. But Daiwa put these two similar technologies in their Rebellion rods, and they only cost $200. Now, also they offer a two-piece design, which I'm excited about, and I might pick up one of these along with a new Zodius and do a comparison. Now, other than an updated Fuego rod, that's it for what I found interesting from Daiwa. Okay, so on to Shimano, and this is going to be quick because the tackle that was officially released has been on Tackle Warehouse's website for a few weeks now, and that of course is going to be the new METANIUM baitcaster and the twin power spinning reel. Now, they also came out with a few new models for the X Pride and the Poison Adrena lineup. Now, check on Tackle Warehouse's website for those new models. Now, the big news for Shimano, in my opinion, is what was not released, and that is the new and highly anticipated Zodius rods. But that could be because they haven't even been released in Japan yet. And also no replacement for the CURADO 70. So I'm thinking ICAST is when they will be announced. Okay, so now it's time to talk about a new and very flashy rod from Favorite. But before we talk about this rod, there seems to be a bit of controversy these days with a few YouTubers deciding not to promote Favorite anymore and making videos about it. Now, a few of them are just following what the Guggen Squad does, and the word is that the Guggen are going to be coming out with their own rod lineup, so apparently they may have ended their collaboration with Favorite. Now, I don't care about it either way, but the thing is, I'm confused about what the big deal about Favorite was to begin with, because none of their rods featured any new or impressive rod technology. They are just another company that buys blanks and puts their own styling touches and marketing words on them. Now, actually, I do know why. It's the Guggen Squad, of course. Now, this new rod is called the Hex, and it's going to be their most expensive rod to date at $400. Now, apparently they named this rod the Hex because I think the rod is supposed to have what they call a heptagonal shape. Now, from the limited pics I've seen online, the rods look round to me. As you can see, these rods have a chrome mirror-like finish, and I actually really like the styling. But you can also clearly see that they copied the Shimano Perfection reel seat, and it's not a big shocker as their Emperor rod is a blatant imitation of the Poison Ultima. Now, the standout feature on this rod is that they appear to be using 3 different tons of graphite, 30, 40, and 46. But there's no information as to how they implement these different rated graphites though. Now, back to the price. At $400, this rod actually costs more than a Poison Adrena, so it's going to be a hard sell in my opinion. Okay, so that's going to be it at all the tackle that I found interesting at this year's Bassmaster Classic. And I guess the next time we're going to see new tackle is going to be coming up in, I believe, June or July at the 2020 ICAST show. All right, guys, thanks a lot.